My name is Edith, and I am 16 years old. I have been apprenticed to Agnes the Herbalist for 3 years now, and this morning, like every morning, I wake in darkness to the sound of the church bell tolling prime. The bell's voice carries across the village of Ashwell from St. Mary's Tower. 5 chimes, slow and deep. It is the first hour after dawn, though you would not know it from the darkness of our cottage. The shutters are closed tight against the February cold, and only the faintest grey light seeps through the gaps in the wood. I lie on my pallet of straw in the corner of the single room we share, Agnes, myself, and sometimes a patient too ill to return home. The straw rustles as I shift, and I hear Agnes's breathing change in the darkness. She is already awake. She is always awake before me, though I have never once heard her rise. "Edith," she says. Her voice is not loud, but it carries the particular quality that means I should move quickly. "Yes, mistress." "The fire needs building." "Then fetch water." 2 buckets, not 1. "We'll be making decoctions today." I push aside the rough wool blanket, my only covering besides my shift and the straw beneath me. The cold hits immediately. February cold in England is a living thing that bites at your skin and settles in your bones. I have learned not to hesitate. Hesitation makes the cold worse. I feel for my dress in the darkness, the everyday brown wool, patched at the elbows, hem stained with mud and plant juices that will never wash clean. I pull it over my shift quickly, then wrap my feet in the wool bindings that serve as hose. My shoes, simple leather, wooden-soled, wait by the door where I left them last night. The floor is hard-packed earth, cold and slightly damp. In summer this floor is dusty. In winter it drinks moisture from the air and gives it back as chill. I hear Agnes moving now, the creak of her own pallet, the rustle of cloth. She is 60 years old, which makes her ancient by village standards. Most women are dead by 40, worn out by childbearing and work. But Agnes never married, never bore children. She has spent her life with plants instead. Some in the village call her witch, but only in whispers, and only when they are not in need of her remedies. I move to the hearth in the center of the room. The fire has burned down to coals during the night. Agnes banks it carefully each evening to preserve wood and keep some warmth through the dark hours. I kneel before it and feel the faint heat rising from the ash-covered embers. First, I must clear away the ash. I use the small wooden shovel that hangs beside the hearth and carefully scoop the fine grey powder into the ash bucket. We save all ash, it is too valuable to waste. Good ash mixed with water makes life a soap. Ash mixed with animal fat makes a poultice for certain skin ailments. Ash sprinkled in the garden keeps some pests away. Nothing is wasted in a herbalist house. Nothing is wasted in any house, but we are more particular about it than most. With the ash cleared, I can see the coals glowing faintly beneath. I take a handful of dried moss from the basket beside the hearth. We gathered this moss last autumn from the north side of oak trees, dried it carefully, stored it in a basket lined with oiled cloth to keep it dry through winter. The moss is perfect tinder, catching fire from the smallest coal. I place the moss gently on the coals and blow softly. Not too hard. Too much air scatters the coals and chills them. Just enough to feed oxygen to the heat. The moss begins to smoke, then suddenly catches with a small flame. The light flares in the darkness, casting wild shadows on the walls. I add small twigs, hazel and birch, collected last summer and stored dry, arranging them in a careful pyramid above the burning moss. Fire building is an art. A badly built fire smokes and sulks and dies. A well-built fire burns clean and hot with minimal wood. Agnes taught me this in my first week here. A herbalist must understand fire. Too hot and you burn your medicines. Too cool and you extract nothing. Fire is like everything else, it must be balanced. The twigs catch, and now I can add larger pieces. Split oak from the woodpile by the door. Oak burns slow and steady, giving good heat for many hours. We use oak for the day's work and save the faster burning woods for quick tasks. The fire builds, and with it comes light. I can see the room now in the orange glow. The rough plaster walls, once whitewashed but now stained with smoke and age, the bundles of dried herbs hanging from the ceiling beams, vervain, yarrow, mugwort, lady's mantle, dozens more whose names I am still learning. The shelves along one wall holding clay pots and vessels of various sizes, the work table beneath the window where Agnes prepares her medicines. Agnes rises from her pallet. In the firelight I can see her clearly now, a small woman, thin but not frail, her back still straight despite her years. Her hair is completely white, covered by a linen coif tied beneath her chin. Her face is a map of wrinkles, each line earned through years of concentration over smoking pots and careful examination of plants. Her eyes, though, her eyes are sharp as a girl's. They miss nothing. Good fire, she says, which from Agnes is high praise. Now the water, quickly. Mistress Carpenter will be here by terce, and her baby's cough needs a strong decoction of horehound and coltsfoot. We must begin preparation now. I take the 2 wooden buckets from their hooks by the door and unlatch it. The cold outside is worse than inside. At least inside we have the beginning of fire warmth. Outside, the February air is bitter and damp, the kind of cold that penetrates wool and finds every gap in your clothing. The sky is lighter now, though the sun has not yet risen. Grey dawn light, flat and colourless. The village is waking around me. I hear a rooster crow from the direction of the Reeves house. Smoke begins to rise from other cottage chimneys, thin streams of grey against the grey sky. I walk quickly toward the village well. My breath makes clouds in the cold air. The path is frozen mud, ridged and hard beneath my wooden soles. In 2 months this same path will be soft mud that sucks at your shoes. In summer it will be dust. Now it is iron-hard earth that jars your bones with each step. The well stands in the center of the village, near the church. It is stone-lined, ancient. No one knows how old. The wooden cover that keeps debris out is already removed. Someone has been here before me. I set down my buckets and peer into the darkness below. I can smell the water, a clean, earthy smell, the scent of deep stone and cold. I drop the bucket on its rope and hear it splash far below. The sound echoes against the stone. I haul the rope hand over hand, pulling the full bucket up from the darkness. The water sloshes and spills slightly. My hands are cold and clumsy. I pour the well bucket into my first wooden bucket, then repeat the process for the second. 2 buckets of water, each weighing perhaps 20 pounds. I lift them by their rope handles and begin the walk back to the cottage. The water sloshes with each step. Some spills, creating dark spots on the frozen ground. This is inevitable. Agnes says I waste less water now than I did in my first year, when I would arrive home with the buckets half empty from spilling. As I walk back, I pass old Thomas the shepherd driving his flock toward the common pasture. The sheep are dirty white shapes in the dim light, their breath making small clouds like mine. Thomas nods to me but does not speak. He is a man of few words, and dawn is not a time for conversation. I pass the baker's cottage and smell bread. The scent makes my stomach clench with hunger. We have not yet eaten, and will not eat until after Mistress Carpenter has been attended to. Patience first, always. This is another of Agnes's rules. The sick cannot wait for your convenience. I reach our cottage and push the door open with my shoulder, careful not to spill more water. The fire has built well in my absence. The room is noticeably warmer now, and Agnes has opened the shutters on the eastern window to let in the grey dawn light. She stands at the work table, and spread before her are bundles of dried herbs. She is selecting the ones we need: horehound for the cough, coltsfoot to soothe the throat, a small amount of comfrey root to help healing, and she reaches for a pot on the shelf, honey, which we will add at the end to make the medicine palatable for a child. Set the water here, she says, pointing to the hook over the fire where an iron pot already hangs. We begin now. Watch carefully, Edith. This child's cough is the wet kind, deep in the chest. The wrong treatment could worsen it. The right treatment could save her life. I pour water into the iron pot, and Agnes begins to measure the dried herbs with her hands. Hands that have done this 10,000 times, hands that know by touch exactly how much is needed. The work begins. And I watch, because watching is how I learn, and learning is how I will someday save lives of my own. Agnes works with the dried horehound first. The plant hangs in bundles from the beam above our work table. We gathered it last July when it was in full flower, cutting it in the morning after the dew had dried but before the sun grew too hot. The timing matters. Agnes says plants hold different strengths at different times of day, different times of year, different phases of the moon. Some call this superstition. Agnes calls it observation. She takes down one bundle and rubs the dried leaves between her palms over a wooden bowl. The leaves crumble into rough pieces, releasing a sharp, bitter scent that fills the cottage. My nose wrinkles involuntarily. You smell that? Agnes asks without looking up from her work. Yes, mistress. It's bitter. Bitter is what opens the lungs. Bitter loosens what is stuck. Sweet soothes, sour wakens, bitter opens. She continues crumbling the leaves. A child will not willingly drink bitter, which is why we add honey at the end. But the honey is kindness, not medicine. The horehound is medicine. I watch her hands. They move with absolute certainty, no hesitation, no doubt. 3 years I have watched these hands, and still I cannot move my own with such sureness. When she has crumbled enough horehound to fill her palm twice over, she sets it aside and reaches for the coltsfoot. This herb we gathered in earliest spring last year, March, when snow still lingered in the shadowed places. Coltsfoot flowers before its leaves appear, strange yellow blooms pushing up through cold earth like small suns. The dried flowers are more delicate than the horehound. Agnes crumbles them more gently, and the scent is different, still medicinal, but softer, almost honey-like, though there is no honey in it. Coltsfoot for the throat, Agnes says, still working. It soothes what the horehound loosens. One breaks apart, the other comforts. You must always think about how remedies work together, not just alone. A single herb is like a single note in a song. Useful, but limited. Combine them properly and you create healing. She measures the crumbled coltsfoot, less than the horehound, perhaps half as much. I try to memorize the proportions, though I know I will not be allowed to prepare this medicine alone for many years yet. Agnes lets me gather plants, clean workspace, tend the fire. But the actual preparation of medicines, that requires knowledge I am still building, piece by careful piece. Now the comfrey root. This is more difficult to prepare. The root must be scraped clean, then sliced thin with a sharp knife. Agnes keeps her knives sharp, another task she taught me early. A dull knife is dangerous, she says, because you must press harder and the blade can slip. A sharp knife cuts where you intend with minimal pressure. She takes a length of comfrey root from a basket. It is thick as my thumb, brown on the outside, white-fleshed within. She scrapes it with the back of her knife, removing the outer skin. The scrapings fall onto the work table, and I know to gather them later for the compost pile behind the cottage. The compost feeds the garden produces medicines, nothing is wasted. With the root cleaned, Agnes begins to slice it. Her knife moves in steady rhythm, and paper-thin rounds of root fall away from the blade. Each slice is even, consistent. When I try to cut roots this way, some slices are thick, some thin, and the medicine extracts unevenly. Why comfrey root, mistress? I ask, because Agnes rewards questions that show I am thinking. What do you know about comfrey? She responds, not looking up from her cutting. This is how she teaches, answering questions with questions, forcing me to think through what I already know. Comfrey is for healing, I say slowly, reaching into my memory for lessons from previous months. It helps flesh knit back together. You use it for wounds that won't close, for broken bones. Yes, and I think harder. It reduces swelling, makes inflammation less. Yes, so why in a cough remedy? I consider this. The child's lungs are inflamed from coughing. The comfrey helps the inflammation. Agnes nods once, a single, sharp movement of her head that means I have answered correctly. The baby is 6 months old. 6 months of coughing has left the throat and lungs raw, inflamed, perhaps even slightly damaged. The horehound breaks up the congestion. The coltsfoot soothes. The comfrey helps heal the damage the coughing has done. All three together create a complete remedy. She finishes slicing the root and sets the knife aside. Now she adds all 3 herbs to the iron pot over the fire, first the horehound, then the coltsfoot, then the thin slices of comfrey root. The water is beginning to steam, not yet boiling. How long until Mistress Carpenter arrives? I ask. Agnes glances toward the window, reading the quality of light with practiced eye. The church bell will ring terse within a quarter hour. She will come then or shortly after. The decoction needs to simmer for at least half an hour, longer if we want it strong. We have time. She uses a long wooden spoon to stir the pot. The water is taking on color now, a pale yellow-brown, like weak tea. As the herbs heat, their essences will extract into the water, creating medicine from plant material. While this simmers, we prepare for the day's other work, Agnes says, turning from the fire. The ointment for Father Benedict's knee needs checking. We made it 4 days ago and it should be properly set by now. The tincture of valerian needs straining. And we must check the drying herbs to ensure no mold has taken hold in this damp weather. She walks to the shelves where we keep finished medicines. These shelves are the most organized part of our cottage. Each pot is labeled, not with writing, which neither Agnes nor I can read, but with symbols we have developed. a drawing of the plant, marks to indicate what ailment it treats, scratches to show when it was made. Agnes takes down a small clay pot sealed with beeswax and cloth. She breaks the seal carefully. The wax can be remelted and used again, and removes the cloth covering. Inside the pot is a thick, yellowish ointment. Agnes dips her finger into it and rubs a small amount between thumb and forefinger, testing the consistency. She brings it close to her nose and smells it carefully. "Good," she says. The beeswax and mutton tallow have blended well. The comfrey and St. John's wort have infused properly. You can smell the plant oils still strong. She holds the pot toward me. "Smell." I lean close and inhale. The ointment smells of herbs and sheep fat, not entirely pleasant, but not foul either. Medicinal. Purposeful. Father Benedict's knee pains him especially when the weather is damp, Agnes explains, resealing the pot. This ointment warms the joint and reduces the inflammation that causes pain. He applies it morning and evening, rubbing it in with circular motions. He says it helps more than anything else he has tried. Will his knee ever heal completely? I ask. Agnes sets down the pot and looks at me directly. He is 63 years old and has spent his life kneeling on cold stone floors to pray. His knee will never be as it was when he was young. But we can reduce his suffering. We can give him easier movement. We can grant him comfort. That is also healing, Edith. Not all healing means cure. This is a lesson Agnes has given me before, but each time she repeats it, I understand it more deeply. When I first came here at 13, I thought medicine meant making sick people well. I thought in absolutes, healthy or sick, cured or dead. 3 years with Agnes has taught me there is vast territory between these poles. There is management of chronic pain. There is comfort in dying. There is reduction of symptoms even when the underlying cause cannot be addressed. There is, as Agnes says, the granting of dignity to those who suffer. The church bell begins to ring. 1, 2, 3 chimes. Terce, the 3rd hour after dawn, mid-morning. The sound is clear in the cold air, and I hear it not just with my ears but feel it somehow in my chest. Agnes moves to the window and looks out. "She comes," she says simply. I join her at the window and see Mistress Carpenter walking up the frozen path toward our cottage. She carries her baby wrapped in shawls against the cold, and even from this distance I can see the child's face is flushed. Behind Mistress Carpenter walks her mother, good wife and, supporting her daughter's elbow. The baby has been sick for 3 weeks, growing worse despite the remedies we have already provided. This is a more serious visit than the previous ones. Agnes turns from the window. "Check the decoction," she says. "Make sure it has not boiled too hard." I move to the fire and peer into the pot. The liquid bubbles gently, and the herbs have released their colors fully now. The water is dark amber, rich with extracted medicine. Outside, footsteps approach our door. The work deepens. The knock on our door is soft, hesitant. Mistress Carpenter is afraid, though she tries to hide it. I have learned to hear fear in the way people knock, the difference between a confident rap and this gentle, almost apologetic sound. Agnes moves to the door and opens it wide. Come in, she says, and her voice has changed. With me, Agnes is direct, sometimes sharp, always teaching. With patients, especially frightened ones, her voice becomes gentler, warmer, like wool after it has been worked soft. Mistress Carpenter enters first, clutching her baby. She is perhaps 22 years old, thin from nursing and worry. Her face is pale, her eyes ringed with darkness from sleepless nights. The baby, little Margaret, I remember her name is Margaret, lies quiet in her mother's arms, too quiet. Sick babies either scream with discomfort or lie listless and silent. The silent ones worry Agnes more. Good wife and follows, closing the door against the cold. She is a solid woman, broad-shouldered, her face weathered by 50 years of life. Her expression is grave. Mistress Agnes, good wife, and says, "The child worsens. The cough syrup you gave us 3 days past helped for a time, but now the cough has returned deeper than before. She barely feeds. She burns with fever through the night." Agnes approaches and holds out her arms. "May I?" Mistress Carpenter hesitates for just a moment, a mother's reluctance to release her sick child, then gently transfers the baby into Agnes's experienced hands. Agnes carries Margaret to the window where the light is strongest. She unwraps the shawls carefully, speaking softly to the child the whole time. "There now, little one. There now. Let old Agnes have a look at you." The baby does not cry. Her eyes are half closed, glassy with fever. Her breathing makes a sound, a wet, rattling sound that even I can hear from where I stand by the fire. This is not good. Agnes places her hand on the baby's forehead, then her chest, then her back. She brings her ear close to the child's chest and listens intently to the breathing. She opens the baby's mouth gently and looks at her throat. She examines the child's skin, her fingernails, the whites of her eyes. All of this takes perhaps 2 minutes, but it feels longer. Mistress Carpenter watches with desperate hope. Good wife and stands with her hand on her daughter's shoulder, her face carefully neutral in the way of people bracing for bad news. Agnes rewraps the baby in her shawls and returns her to the mother. Then she gestures to the bench near the fire. "Sit, both of you. Warm yourselves." They sit, and I notice Mistress Carpenter is shaking. Whether from cold or fear, I cannot tell. Probably both. Agnes goes to the fire and ladles some of the decoction into a small clay cup. She does not strain it yet. The herbs need to steep longer for full strength. Instead, she simply takes some of the liquid and brings it to her own lips, tasting it carefully. Her face shows concentration, consideration. "The fever has been how many days?" she asks. 5 days now," good wife answers. "It began as a low fever, barely noticeable. But last night she was so hot I feared her skin would burn my hand." "And the cough? Describe it to me." Mistress Carpenter speaks for the first time, her voice barely above a whisper. "Deep. It comes from deep in her chest. And wet, I can hear fluid when she breathes. Sometimes she coughs and brings up yellow phlegm, thick like." She cannot finish, overcome. "Like curds," Agnes finishes gently. "Yellow and thick like curds from milk." Mistress Carpenter nods, tears now running down her face. I have seen Agnes deliver difficult news before. She does not soften it too much. "False hope is a cruelty," she says, but neither does she strip away all comfort. She finds a path between truth and kindness. "The lung fever has taken hold," Agnes says simply. "This is beyond a simple cough. The child's lungs are filling with fluid and corruption. We will fight it, but you must understand, lung fever in one so young is very serious." "Will she die?" Mistress Carpenter asks, and her voice breaks on the word. I do not know, Agnes says, and I admire her honesty even as I see how it wounds. I have seen babies survive lung fever, and I have seen babies die from it. What I can tell you is this: we will give her the strongest remedies I know. We will do everything possible. But you must be prepared for God's will. God's will. This is how we speak of death when death seems likely. It comforts some people. Others it angers. Mistress Carpenter simply nods, holding her baby closer. Agnes returns to the fire and stirs the decoction. This remedy I am preparing is stronger than what I gave you before. It contains horehound to break the congestion, coltsfoot to soothe the inflammation, and comfrey to help heal the damaged tissue in her lungs. You will give her 1 small spoonful every 2 hours, day and night. Do not let her sleep through a dose. Wake her if you must. She turns to look at Mistress Carpenter directly. This will be difficult. The medicine is bitter and she will resist it. But you must persist. Every dose matters. I will, Mistress Carpenter says. I will force it down her throat if I must. Not force, Agnes corrects gently. Coax. Speak sweetly to her. Tell her it will help. A tense baby swallows poorly and may vomit the medicine back up. You want her calm as possible. Good wife and leans forward. What else can we do? There must be something more. Agnes considers this. Keep her warm but not too hot. A fever needs some cooling or the brain can be damaged. Use damp cloths on her forehead and the back of her neck. Change them frequently as they warm from her skin. Keep the air in your house moist. Hang wet cloths near the fire so steam rises. Dry air makes the cough worse. She pauses, then continues, and you must try to get her to feed. I know she has little appetite, but a baby who does not eat grows too weak to fight illness. Try feeding her when she first wakes, before she is fully alert. Sometimes they will suckle from habit even when they have no hunger. I watch Mistress Carpenter's face as Agnes speaks. She is memorizing every word, committing every instruction to memory with the desperate focus of a mother fighting for her child's life. Agnes returns to the pot and, satisfied that it has steeped long enough, begins the process of straining the decoction. She places a piece of clean linen cloth over second pot and carefully pours the hot liquid through it. The herbs remain caught in the cloth while the medicine flows through, clear and amber dark. The steam rising from the pot smells strongly of horehound, that sharp, bitter scent that opens the lungs just by breathing it. When all the liquid has been strained, Agnes lifts the corners of the cloth and twists them, squeezing out every last drop of medicine from the spent herbs. The herbs will go to the compost pile later, but for now every bit of extracted essence is precious. Agnes takes the pot of strained decoction and adds honey, a generous amount, perhaps 2 spoonfuls. She stirs it in completely, and the liquid becomes slightly cloudy, slightly thickened. The honey will mask some of the bitterness and make the medicine easier for a baby to swallow. She pours the finished medicine into a small ceramic flask with a cork stopper. The flask is marked with a simple scratch drawing of a plant that might be horehound, though I am not certain. She corks it firmly and hands it to Mistress Carpenter. 1 small spoonful every 2 hours, she repeats. Day and night. If the fever worsens despite the medicine, if the baby stops breathing normally, if her lips turn blue, send for me immediately, any hour. Do you understand? Yes, Mistress Agnes. Any hour. Agnes reaches out and touches the baby's forehead one more time, very gently. "Fight well, little Margaret," she says softly. "You are stronger than you look." Then she straightens and looks at Goodwife Anne. "The cost is 3 pennies for the medicine and my consultation." Goodwife Anne produces the coins from a purse at her belt. 3 small silver pennies, precious in a household where pennies are rare. She places them on the work table. Agnes nods. "Go now, while the morning is still young. Keep her warm on the journey home." The 2 women stand. Mistress Carpenter cradles both baby and medicine flask. Goodwife Anne opens the door, and cold air rushes in. They leave, and the door closes behind them. Agnes and I stand in silence for a moment. Will she live? I ask quietly. Agnes walks to the work table and picks up the 3 pennies, dropping them into the small wooden box where we keep our earnings. "I do not know," she says, "but we have given her the best chance we can." She turns to me. "Now clean the pots. We have other work today." The morning continues. I take the pot that held the decoction and carry it to the work table. The inside is stained dark with the residue of herbs, and small pieces of plant material cling to the sides. This pot must be cleaned thoroughly before we can use it again. Residue from one medicine can contaminate another, and contamination can turn healing into harm. We keep a basin of water on the work table for cleaning, though the water is cold and my hands are already chilled. I dip a rag into the water and begin scrubbing the inside of the pot. The staining is stubborn, and I must work hard to remove it. Agnes watches me for a moment, then speaks. "Not like that. You are scrubbing in circles, which only spreads the residue around. Work from the top down, in lines, pushing the residue toward the bottom where you can scoop it out." I adjust my technique, scrubbing in downward strokes as she instructed. It works better. The residue collects at the bottom of the pot, and I can scoop it out with the edge of the rag. "Better," Agnes says. "Cleaning is not separate from medicine making, Edith. How you clean determines what medicines you can safely make next. A pot that held a purgative must be cleaned more thoroughly than one that held a cough remedy. A knife that cut monkshood must be washed many times before it touches anything else. Always think about what came before." While I clean, Agnes moves to the bundles of herbs hanging from the ceiling beams. She examines each one carefully, running her hands over the dried plants, checking for any signs of mold or decay. February's dampness is the enemy of dried herbs. Moisture creeps into even the best sealed spaces, and what took months to gather can be ruined in days if not watched carefully. She pauses at one bundle, yarrow, I think, from the shape of the dried flower heads, and makes a small sound of displeasure. "Here," she says, beckoning me over. I set down the pot and join her. She points to a small patch on one of the dried stems where white fuzz has begun to grow. "Mold. What must we do?" she asks, testing me. I examine the bundle. The mold is small, contained to just one stem. Remove the affected stem and check all the others nearby. Yes. And I think harder. Increase the airflow around this area. Perhaps move the bundles farther from the walls where condensation collects. Agnes nods. Good. Do it now. Take down all the bundles on this side of the room. Inspect each one thoroughly. Any that show mold, separate them. Small amounts of mold we can trim away. Large amounts mean the whole bundle is compromised and must be discarded. I begin taking down the bundles one by one. Each is tied with rough twine and hangs from a wooden peg driven into the beam. The dried herbs are light but bulky, and some of the bundles are large enough that I must reach high to unhook them. The first bundle is sage. I recognize it by the distinctive shape of the leaves even though they are dried and brown. I examine it carefully, spreading the stems apart to look at the inner portions where mold most often begins. This bundle is clean. The second bundle is St. John's wort, recognizable by the small dried flowers and the way the stems branch. Also clean. The third bundle is feverfew, and here I find more mold, a larger patch than on the yarrow, spreading across multiple stems. I show it to Agnes. She takes the bundle from me and examines it closely, then sighs. Too much. The whole bundle is compromised. Set it aside for burning. It is a loss, but better to lose one bundle than to use mold herbs and sicken a patient. I set the contaminated feverfew on the floor near the door. It will go into the fire later, not the compost. Mold plant material should not go into compost that feeds the medicinal garden. As I continue inspecting bundles, Agnes returns to the work table and begins preparing for the next task she mentioned: straining the valerian tincture. Tinctures are different from decoctions. A decoction is made by simmering herbs in water, extracting their essences through heat. A tincture is made by steeping herbs in ale or wine for many days, allowing the alcohol to draw out different properties than water extracts. Tinctures are stronger, last longer, and are used for different purposes. Agnes brings out a large ceramic jar that has been sealed for, I try to remember, 12 days now. Inside, valerian root has been steeping in strong ale. Valerian is for sleep, for calming nervous conditions, for easing pain that comes from tension rather than injury. She breaks the wax seal on the jar and immediately the room fills with a powerful smell. Valerian root smells foul, like dirty feet, like spoiled cheese, like something that should not be consumed. The first time I smelled it, I thought surely this could not be medicine. But Agnes taught me that smell does not indicate efficacy. Some of the best medicines smell terrible. Some poisons smell sweet. Never judge a plant by its scent alone, she told me. Judge it by what it does. Agnes sets up the straining apparatus, a large piece of linen cloth suspended over a clean pot, held in place by twine tied to 4 nails driven into the edge of the work table for this purpose. It creates a kind of hanging basket of cloth into which she can pour the tincture. She lifts the jar carefully. It is heavy, perhaps holding 2 quarts of liquid, and begins to pour the contents into the cloth. The dark brown liquid flows through, and the valerian root pieces remain caught in the fabric. The smell intensifies as the liquid moves, and I have to breathe through my mouth to avoid gagging. Agnes seems unaffected. Perhaps after 40 years of making medicines, she no longer notices such things. Or perhaps she has simply made peace with unpleasant scents as part of the work. The liquid drips slowly into the pot below. This is not like straining a hot decoction where the liquid flows quickly. Tinctures are thick, syrupy, and must be given time to strain completely. While the tincture drains, Agnes turns to me. How many bundles have you inspected? 8 so far, mistress. The sage, St. John's wort, feverfew, which was mold, yarrow, mugwort, lady's bedstraw, vervain, and agrimony. All clean except the feverfew and 1 small spot on the yarrow which I trimmed away. Continue through all of them, Agnes says. When you finish, rehang them but farther from the walls. Create more space between bundles so air can circulate. We cannot control the February damp, but we can manage how we store our materials. I return to the task, taking down bundle after bundle. My arms begin to ache from reaching up repeatedly, and my hands are dusty with dried plant material. Some of the herbs shed leaves when handled, and a fine shower of brown fragments falls each time I unhook a bundle. The work is tedious but necessary. Agnes has taught me that much of herbalism is not dramatic cure-making but rather careful maintenance. Keeping herbs dry, keeping tools clean, keeping knowledge organized in your mind through repetition and practice. The exciting moments, mixing a remedy for a desperately sick child, rest on a foundation of these small, constant tasks. I find one more mold bundle, Bethany, I think, though the mold makes it difficult to identify with certainty. I set it aside with the feverfew for burning. As I work, I hear Agnes behind me, humming quietly. It is not quite a song, more a rhythmic sound she makes when concentrating. I have learned to read Agnes's moods through such small signs. The humming means she is content with the work at hand. Silence means she is worried or calculating. Sharp movements mean she is frustrated, usually with me. I finish inspecting the last bundle, a large collection of dried nettle, all clean, and turn back to Agnes. All inspected, mistress. 2 bundles lost to mold. 1 small section trimmed from the yarrow. The rest are sound. Good. Now rehang them as I instructed. I begin the process of rehanging, this time positioning each bundle farther from the wall and with more space between them. The beams are not infinite in length, so I must judge carefully how much space I can afford while still hanging all the bundles. Agnes, meanwhile, has finished straining the valerian tincture. She lifts the corners of the cloth and twists them tightly, squeezing out every last drop of the precious liquid. The root pieces in the cloth look pale and exhausted, drained of their virtue. She pours the strained tincture into several smaller bottles, dark pottery bottles that protect the tincture from light, which can weaken its strength over time. Each bottle receives a cork stopper pushed in firmly. "Come here, Edith," she says when I have hung the last bundle. I approach the work table. Agnes holds up one of the bottles of valerian tincture. "Goodman Peter will come this afternoon," she says. His back pains him constantly from his work in the fields. The pain prevents sleep, and lack of sleep makes everything worse. We will give him this tincture, 10 drops in a cup of ale before bed. It will ease the muscle tension and help him sleep. But you must tell me, what warning must we give him about valerian? She is testing me again. I search my memory. Valerian causes deep sleep. He should not take it and then need to wake quickly. What else? Some people feel heavy the next morning, slow to wake. Yes, and the most important warning. I struggle, then remember, never with strong wine, only with ale or water. Strong wine and valerian together can make the sleep too deep, dangerous deep. Agnes nods, satisfied. Yes, a medicine that grants sleep can grant too much sleep if combined wrongly. Always think about combinations, Edith. Nothing exists in isolation. She sets down the bottle and glances toward the window. The light has changed, the sun has risen higher, though it remains hidden behind February clouds. The morning advances, Agnes says. Soon we must prepare the midday meal. But first, you will practice identifying dried herbs while I check on the ointment for Father Benedict. The teaching never stops. The work continues. Agnes goes to the shelf and brings down a wooden box I have seen before but never opened myself. It is perhaps the length of my forearm, made of oak, and fitted with a simple latch. She sets it on the work table and opens it. Inside are small bundles of dried herbs, each no larger than my thumb. They are samples, pieces cut from larger stores and kept separate for teaching purposes. Agnes uses this box to test my knowledge, to ensure I can identify herbs by sight, smell, and touch even when they are dried and their colors faded. She reaches into the box without looking and draws out one small bundle. She holds it toward me. "Identify it," she says simply. I take the bundle and examine it carefully. The stems are thin and woody. The leaves are small, narrow, and grey-green even in their dried state. I bring it close to my nose and smell it, a sharp, clean scent, almost like pine but sweeter. I rub one of the leaves between my fingers and it crumbles easily, releasing more of the scent. "Rosemary," I say with confidence. "Correct. Uses." This is the second part of every identification test. Knowing the plant is worthless if you do not know what it does. Rosemary for remembrance. I begin, reciting what I have learned. It strengthens the memory and clears the mind. It can be made into a tea for headaches, especially headaches that come with confusion or dizziness. The oil can be rubbed on aching joints. It aids digestion when taken after heavy meals. And I pause, reaching for another use I know I have been taught. And Agnes prompts. It can be burned as a cleansing smoke when sickness has been in a house. The smoke purifies the air. Good. Though remember, the smoke purifies in the sense that it masks the smell of corruption and may drive away some airborne miasmas. We do not know if it truly kills the seeds of disease, but observation suggests it helps. Always distinguish between what we know from certain observation and what we believe from tradition. She takes back the rosemary and draws another bundle from the box. This one she hands me without looking at it herself. The second bundle has broader leaves, still green tinged even when dried. The stems are square rather than round. I can feel this by rolling the stem between my fingers. The scent when I crush a leaf is strong and minty, but different from the mint we use in teas. Sharper, more medicinal. Mint. I venture, though I know this is not quite right. Be more specific. What kind? I smell it again, think harder. Pennyroyal. Yes. Uses. Pennyroyal for women's courses, I say, and feel my face warm slightly. Even after 3 years, discussing women's bleeding makes me uncomfortable, though Agnes has no such modesty. It brings on delayed courses. It eases the cramping pains. I stop, remembering something important. It must never be given to pregnant women, I say urgently. It can cause miscarriage. Exactly. Pennyroyal is both medicine and danger. A woman whose courses are delayed due to illness may need it. A woman whose courses are delayed due to pregnancy must avoid it entirely. How do we know which is which? This is a question Agnes has posed before, and the answer is uncomfortable. We ask the woman, I say slowly. But if she wishes to rid herself of a child, she may lie and say her courses are simply delayed. Agnes nods gravely. Yes, this is one of the moral complexities of our work. I will not give pennyroyal to any woman of childbearing age without careful questioning. If I suspect she is pregnant and seeking to end it, I refuse. The church forbids it, and my conscience forbids it. But... She pauses, her weathered face thoughtful. There are herbalists who see this differently, who believe a woman has right to govern her own womb. I do not judge them harshly, but it is not my path. She takes back the pennyroyal and I feel relieved to be done with that particular discussion. She draws another bundle. This one I recognize immediately by touch before I even smell it. The leaves are large and soft, even dried, and covered with tiny hairs that give them a fuzzy texture. The scent is mild, slightly sweet, slightly medicinal. Mullein, I say confidently. Uses mullein for the lungs and throat. The leaves can be made into a tea that soothes coughing. The tea should always be strained through fine cloth because the tiny hairs can irritate the throat if not removed. Mullein can also be made into an oil for earaches. You steep the flowers in olive oil for several days, then strain it and put warm drops into the painful ear. Very good. And the root? I hesitate. I know we use mullein root for something, but I cannot remember what. I do not recall, mistress. Agnes does not look disappointed. I have learned she expects me to know some things and not others. The not knowing is an opportunity for teaching, not a failure. The root, when dried and ground to powder, can be used to ease joint pain when mixed with lard and applied as a poultice. It also has uses as a dye. It produces a yellow color. We rarely use it for that purpose, but you should know it. Every part of a plant has potential uses. Never assume you know all of them. She takes back the mullein and draws out another bundle. This one looks like nothing but dried twigs, thin, brown, woody stems with no visible leaves. I examine it, smell it. There is barely any scent at all, and feel stumped. I do not know this one, I admit. Agnes takes it back and holds it up. This is why you must learn plants in all their forms. These are the stems of broom. You know broom, yes? The plant with bright yellow flowers that grows on the common land. I nod. I have seen broom many times, though I did not know we used it for medicine. Broom is dangerous, Agnes says, and her voice takes on the particular tone she uses when teaching about poisonous or risky plants. The flowers and seeds contain potent substances that affect the heart and blood. In very small amounts, carefully prepared, broom can be used to strengthen a weak heartbeat or to purge excessive fluid from the body. But the line between medicine and poison is very thin with broom. I rarely use it, and you will not prepare it for many years yet. But you must learn to identify it so that you never use it by accident. She returns the broom to the box and selects another bundle. This testing could continue for an hour. The box contains dozens of samples, but before she can hand me the next bundle, we hear voices outside. Agnes sets down the herb and moves to the window. Father Benedict, she says. Earlier than I expected. Through the window I can see the old priest approaching, leaning heavily on a walking stick. He moves slowly, each step careful, his face showing the concentration of a man managing constant pain. Fetch the ointment for his knee, Agnes instructs. The one we checked earlier. And prepare a cup of the willow bark tea. He will want something warming after his walk in the cold. I move quickly to gather these items. The ointment pot is where Agnes left it on the shelf. The willow bark tea requires me to take dried bark from a basket, measure a small handful into a cup, and pour hot water over it from the pot that constantly simmers at the edge of the fire. Willow bark tea is bitter and unpleasant, but it eases pain and reduces fever. Father Benedict drinks it regularly for his various ailments: the knee, the aching back, the stiffness in his hands that comes with age. By the time I have prepared these things, Father Benedict has reached our door and knocks, a firmer knock than Mistress Carpenter's, though still abhorred. Agnes opens the door. "Father Benedict, come in, come in. Warm yourself by the fire." The priest enters, and immediately the small cottage feels smaller still. He is not a large man, but he carries an authority that fills space. He wears the simple brown robe of a parish priest, and around his neck hangs a wooden cross on a leather cord. "Mistress Agnes," he says, his voice rough with age, "God's blessings on this house. And on you, Father. Sit, please. Edith has prepared willow bark tea for you, and your ointment is ready." The priest lowers himself carefully onto the bench near the fire, wincing as he bends his knee. Once seated, he accepts the cup of tea I offer him with a nod of thanks. "You are a blessing to this village, Mistress Agnes," he says. "My knee pains me less since I began using your ointment. I am glad it brings relief, Father." Agnes takes the ointment pot from where I have placed it on the work table and brings it to the priest. The same instructions as before: morning and evening, rub it well into the knee with circular motions. The warmth from your hand helps the medicine penetrate. Father Benedict sets down his tea and takes the pot, examining it. "I shall pray for your continued skill," he says. Then he looks at me, and his watery eyes are kind. "And how does young Edith progress in her learning?" I open my mouth to answer, but Agnes speaks first. "She learns well. She has a good memory and careful hands. In a few more years, she will be ready to prepare simple remedies on her own." A few more years. Always a few more years. But I do not feel frustrated. I have learned enough to know how much I still do not know. The morning deepens toward midday. Father Benedict sips his willow bark tea, making a face at the bitterness but drinking it nonetheless. Agnes settles onto the other bench, and I remain standing near the work table, my usual position when we have visitors. I am present to learn, to observe, to assist if needed, but not to participate in conversation unless directly addressed. "I come not only for the ointment," Father Benedict says after a moment, "though I am grateful for it. I come also with a question of theology that touches upon your work." Agnes's expression becomes guarded. This is always a delicate moment, when the Church takes interest in herbalism. We live in an uneasy balance. The Church accepts that herbalists provide necessary care, that God gave us plants for healing. But the Church also fears that herbalists may cross into witchcraft, into dealings with the devil, into knowledge that should belong only to God. Agnes has navigated these waters for 40 years, but I can see the tension in her shoulders nonetheless. "I am always willing to discuss theology with you, Father," she says carefully. Father Benedict sets down his cup. "Yesterday I attended the deathbed of old William the Thatcher. You knew him, I think." "I did. I treated him for the swelling in his legs these past 2 years." "Yes. He told me you had been kind to him, that your remedies gave him ease." The priest pauses, gathering his thoughts. As he lay dying, His daughter asked me if she might give him poppy tears to ease his final pain. She said you had once mentioned that poppy tears can grant peaceful passage when death is certain. Agnes nods slowly. I may have said something of that nature. Poppy tears, the sap from poppy seed heads, can indeed ease great pain. In the final stages of dying, when pain serves no purpose and only creates suffering, I believe such ease is a mercy. And yet, Father Benedict says, some theologians argue that suffering is redemptive. That pain in death may burn away sins, may shorten time in purgatory. If we remove that pain with medicines, do we interfere with God's plan for the soul? This is dangerous territory. I see Agnes choose her words with great care. Father, I am no theologian, she begins. I am a simple herbalist. But I will tell you what I believe, and you may correct me if I stray from proper doctrine. Father Benedict nods, indicating she should continue. I believe God gave us plants for healing. This is not my invention but is written in Scripture. In Genesis, God gives us the plants for food and medicine. In Ezekiel, the leaves of the tree are for the healing of nations. If God gave us these remedies, surely He intends us to use them. True, Father Benedict agrees. But the question remains, should we use them to remove suffering that God may intend for a purpose? Agnes meets his eyes directly. Father, you have watched many people die. I have watched more. I have seen deaths that come quickly and gently, and I have seen deaths that stretch across days of agony so terrible that the dying person begs for release. When I see such agony, I cannot believe that God delights in it. I cannot believe that a merciful God would condemn us for easing pointless suffering. She pauses, then adds, but I defer to your wisdom in these matters. If you tell me that easing death pain is sinful, I will cease doing it. Father Benedict is quiet for a long moment, staring into the fire. When he speaks again, his voice is thoughtful. I will tell you what I told William's daughter. I said, God is merciful, and mercy takes many forms. I do not believe that easing the pain of one who is certainly dying, whose death is inevitable and near, is a sin. I believe it is an act of Christian charity. I see Agnes's shoulders relax slightly. However, the priest continues, there is a line that must not be crossed. To ease pain is one thing. To hasten death itself is another. We must not play God by choosing the moment of death. We can make the journey easier, but we cannot shorten the journey itself. I understand the distinction, Agnes says, and I keep to it carefully. Poppy tears in the dose I give cannot hasten death, they only ease pain. The death comes in its own time. Then we are in agreement. Father Benedict picks up his tea and drinks again. I wanted this conversation so that I might tell others in the village that your practice has the church's acceptance. There are those who whisper that your knowledge is too great, that you must have learned it from unholy sources. Agnes's face hardens slightly. I learned it from my own teacher, who learned from hers, stretching back through generations of women who observed plants and their effects. There is no devil in it, Father, only patience and observation. I know this, but you know how people are. They fear what they do not understand, and a woman with knowledge is easily suspect. He finishes his tea and sets down the cup. I protect you as best I can, Mistress Agnes. But you must also protect yourself. Be careful who you teach. Be careful what you say. These are uncertain times. He stands with difficulty, using his walking stick to lever himself up from the bench. I step forward to help him, and he accepts my arm gratefully. "Thank you, Father," Agnes says quietly, "for your understanding and your protection." "You are welcome. Though I do it as much for the village as for you, we would be in sorry state without your skills." He moves toward the door, then pauses. "How much do I owe you for the ointment?" "2 pennies, Father." He reaches into his robe and produces the coins, placing them in Agnes's hand. "God bless this work," he says. Then he looks at me again. "Young Edith, I see you at Mass each Sunday, but I do not think I have ever heard your confession. You should come to the church this week." My stomach tightens slightly. Confession is always uncomfortable. The booth, the darkness, the need to enumerate sins to the priest. But there is no refusing. "Yes, Father. I will come." "Good. God watches over those who tend the sick. You are doing holy work here, child. Do not let anyone tell you otherwise." He opens the door himself, refusing further help, and steps out into the cold. The door closes behind him, and Agnes and I are alone again. Agnes walks to the work table and places Father Benedict's 2 pennies in the money box with the 3 from Mistress Carpenter. 5 pennies earned this morning. A good morning, though the cost in materials and time is high. She turns to me. "What did you learn from that conversation?" This is Agnes's way. Every interaction becomes a lesson. I think carefully before answering. I learned that we must always be mindful of how the Church views our work. That there are theological questions about medicine that we must consider. And that Father Benedict is an ally, but he warned us to be careful, which means there are those in the village who are not allies. Good. What else? I think harder. That the line between easing pain and hastening death is important. That we must never cross it, or we risk not just the Church's anger but also the trust of the village. Agnes nods. Yes. And one more thing. Did you notice that he asked about poppy tears but did not ask me to provide any? I had not noticed this, but now that she mentions it, I realize it is true. He already knows how to obtain them, I say slowly. Either he has some himself, or he knows who to ask besides you. Exactly. Father Benedict is more knowledgeable about herbs than he lets on. He comes to me for ointments and teas, but I suspect he has his own sources for the more controversial remedies. This protects both him and me. If questions arise about poppy tears, he can truthfully say he did not obtain them from me. She walks to the fire and stirs the pot of simmering water. It is nearly midday. The church will ring sext soon. We should prepare something to eat before the afternoon's work begins. The morning has passed quickly, filled with patience and teaching and the constant small tasks that comprise a herbalist's day. And still, so much work remains before darkness falls. Agnes moves to the corner of the cottage where we keep our food stores. It is not much, a small cupboard built into the wall, elevated off the ground to keep mice from the contents. She opens the door and surveys what we have. Bread from 3 days ago, she says, removing a small loaf wrapped in cloth. Cheese, still good. Some dried peas. A bit of salted pork from last month's pig slaughter. Our meals are simple, always. We are not wealthy, though we are not poor either. The coins we earn go toward purchasing materials we cannot gather ourselves. Honey, certain imported herbs, oils, metal tools. Food is secondary. We eat what we need to maintain strength for work, nothing more. Agnes sets the bread and cheese on the work table. The bread is hard. 3 days old in February means stone-hard crust and dense interior. But it is food, and we waste nothing. Soak some of the bread in the hot water, Agnes instructs. It will soften enough to eat. Cut the cheese into thin slices. We will share what we have. I take a wooden bowl and break off pieces of the hard bread, dropping them into the bowl. Then I ladle hot water from the pot over the fire onto the bread. The water slowly soaks into the dry bread, softening it, making it edible again. While the bread softens, I cut the cheese with Agnes's sharp knife. The cheese is hard yellow cheese, made from cow's milk, aged through the autumn. It cuts cleanly, and I make the slices as thin as I can, making the cheese stretch farther, making it last longer. Agnes brings 2 wooden cups and fills them with water from the bucket I brought this morning. Plain water, cold, but clean. In summer we sometimes add mint or other herbs to the drinking water to make it more pleasant. In winter we drink it plain and are grateful to have it. The church bell begins to ring. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 chimes. Sext, the 6th hour, midday. The sun is at its highest point, though behind the February clouds we cannot see it clearly. The bell's sound carries across the village, marking the rhythm of the day. Prime at dawn, terce at mid-morning, sext at midday, none at mid-afternoon, vespers at evening, compline at night's beginning. The church orders time, divides the day into segments, reminds us that all time belongs to God. Agnes bows her head briefly when the bell finishes. I do the same. We are not in church, but we acknowledge the holy hours nonetheless. Then Agnes sits on one bench and gestures for me to sit on the other. This is unusual. Normally I eat standing or sitting on the floor. But at midday meal, on days when we have no patients waiting, Agnes allows me to sit at the table with her. The bread has softened in the hot water, becoming a kind of porridge. I lift some with a wooden spoon and eat it. It tastes of nothing but bread and water, but my stomach welcomes it. I have eaten nothing since yesterday evening, and hunger makes even plain food satisfying. Agnes eats her bread slowly, chewing carefully. She has lost several teeth over the years, and eating hard food is difficult for her. The cheese she can manage better. She places a thin slice on her tongue and lets it soften before chewing. We eat in silence for a time. The cottage is quiet except for the crackle of the fire and the small sounds of eating. Through the window I can see smoke rising from other cottages as the village pauses for its midday meal. This afternoon, Agnes says after a while, Goodman Peter will come for his valerian tincture, as I mentioned. We must also check the salve we are making for the baker's wife's burn. It has been setting for 2 days and should be ready for use. And we need to begin preparing materials for the spring planting of the medicinal garden. The garden, I repeat. This is work I enjoy, being outside, working with soil and living plants rather than dried ones. Yes. In 6 weeks, perhaps 7, the ground will be soft enough to work. We must plan what to plant where, what seeds we need to obtain, what areas need manure for enrichment. The garden is the foundation of everything we do, Edith. Without a good garden, we must purchase too much from traveling merchants, and their prices are unpredictable. I nod, understanding. Our garden plot behind the cottage is perhaps 30 paces long and 20 wide, not large, but carefully tended. Every span of earth serves a purpose. We grow the herbs we use most frequently: sage, thyme, rosemary, lavender, feverfew, chamomile, yarrow, lady's mantle, and dozens more. Some plants grow easily here. Others struggle in our soil and must be coaxed with extra care. This year I want to expand the comfrey patch, Agnes continues. We use it constantly, and our current patch is not sufficient. Also, the feverfew, we lost 2 bundles to mold this morning, which means we did not harvest enough last summer. We must plant more. I finish my bread porridge and start on the cheese, savoring each thin slice. Cheese is a luxury we do not often have. Most of our coin goes to other necessities. But Agnes trades remedies for food sometimes, and last month the dairymaid's mother suffered from painful joints. Agnes provided ointment, and the dairymaid provided cheese. Such trades are common. Coin is scarce, but goods can be exchanged. After we eat, Agnes says, you will go to the forest edge and gather willow bark. We used the last of our supply for Father Benedict's tea, and we must replenish it. Willow bark we use constantly, for pain, for fever, for inflammation. Take the small knife and the gathering basket. Cut only from branches no thicker than your thumb, and only from trees that are healthy. A diseased tree produces weak medicine. Yes, mistress. How much should I gather? Enough to fill the basket halfway. No more. We must not take too much from any one tree. Better to take a little from several trees than to damage one by taking too much. This is another principle Agnes has taught me. We are stewards of the plants, not their masters. We take what we need, but we do not destroy. A plant harvested carefully will grow back. A plant stripped bare may die, and then future harvests are lost. I finish the last of my cheese and drink my water. The meal has taken perhaps 10 minutes. There is not much to eat, and we eat efficiently. In wealthier households, I imagine meals last longer, with more courses, more conversation. But we are working women, and time spent eating is time not spent working. Agnes stands and begins clearing the table, returning the bread to its wrapping, putting away the remaining cheese. I take our cups and bowls to the cleaning basin and wash them quickly in cold water. Take your cloak, Agnes says. The air is cold, and you will be out for an hour at least. The forest edge is a quarter-mile walk, and the gathering itself takes time. I move to the peg by the door where my cloak hangs, a wool cloak, brown like my dress, patched but serviceable. It was given to me when I first came to Agnes, and I have worn it nearly every day for 3 years. In winter it is essential. In summer it remains here on its peg. I wrap the cloak around my shoulders and fasten it with a simple wooden pin. Then I take the gathering basket from its hook, a woven willow basket with a handle, large enough to carry a substantial amount of plant material. And the small knife Agnes mentioned, a sharp iron blade with a wooden handle, used for cutting bark, trimming roots, harvesting stems. Remember, Agnes says as I prepare to leave, willow grows best near water. Go to the stream at the forest edge, where the willows cluster. Choose trees that overhang the water, those are the strongest. And be watchful. You are a young woman alone. Stay where others might see you, stay near the village. Do not go deep into the forest. This warning I have heard before. A young woman alone is vulnerable. To animals, to rough men, to dangers that Agnes does not name specifically but that I understand nonetheless. I am 16, old enough to be considered marriageable, and that brings its own risks. I will be careful, mistress. Good. Return before none, before mid-afternoon. That gives you 2 hours for the walk and the gathering. Sufficient time if you do not dawdle. I open the door and step out into the cold midday air. The sun is trying to break through the clouds, creating patches of brighter grey in the otherwise uniform overcast. The village is quiet. Most people are inside eating their midday meals. I close the door behind me and begin walking toward the forest edge, the empty basket swinging from my arm, the knife secure in my belt. The work continues. Always the work continues. And I walk alone into the cold February afternoon, gathering medicine from the land that provides for those who know how to read its gifts. The path from the village toward the forest edge is one I know well. I have walked it dozens of times in my 3 years with Agnes, gathering bark in winter, collecting flowers in spring, harvesting leaves in summer, digging roots in autumn. Each season brings different tasks, different plants, different parts of the same plants. My wooden-soled shoes make a steady rhythm on the frozen path. The sound is companionable somehow, a reminder that I am moving, progressing, accomplishing the task I have been given. I pass the last cottages of the village, the shepherd Thomas's dwelling, smoke rising from its chimney, and beyond it the empty cottage that belonged to the family who died of fever 2 winters ago. No one has moved into that cottage since. Some say it carries bad fortune. Agnes says that is superstition, but even she has not suggested someone take residence there. Beyond the cottages, the land opens into common pasture, rough grassland where the village animals graze in warmer months. Now it is empty and brown, the grass dead or dormant, waiting for spring. A few sheep huddle near a stone wall in the distance, but otherwise the land is bare. The cold air bites at my face, the only part of me exposed. My cloak covers most of my body, and my coif covers my hair and ears, but my face feels the full force of the February wind. My eyes water slightly from the cold, and I blink the moisture away. As I walk, I think about what Agnes taught me about willow bark. Willow contains a substance, she does not know its name, only that it exists, that reduces pain and fever. The substance is in the inner bark, the living layer just beneath the rough outer bark. To harvest it properly, you must cut through the outer bark carefully, then peel away strips of the inner bark. If you cut too deep, you damage the tree's ability to transport water and food, and the branch may die. If you cut too shallow, you get mostly outer bark, which has less medicinal value. It is delicate work, requiring attention and care. But I have done it before, and Agnes says I have learned the technique adequately. The path descends slightly as I approach the forest edge. I can see the trees now, a dark line against the grey sky, mostly bare branches though some evergreen yews show dark green among the browns and greys. I hear the stream before I see it, a quiet burbling sound, water moving over stones. In spring this stream runs fast and full with snowmelt. In summer it sometimes dwindles to a trickle. Now, in February, it runs steady and cold, fed by the winter rains. The willows grow here in abundance, drawn to the water as willows always are. I can identify them even from a distance by their shape, the drooping branches, the narrow leaves now fallen for winter, the particular grey-green colour of their bark. I reach the stream's edge and set down my basket. The ground here is damp, not quite frozen, and my shoes sink slightly into the soft earth. I can smell the water, a clean, mineral smell, and beneath it the scent of wet earth and decaying leaves. I stand for a moment, surveying the willows, choosing which trees to harvest from. Agnes taught me to look for signs of health, good color in the bark, no obvious disease or damage, branches that are supple rather than brittle. A healthy tree produces strong medicine. A weak tree produces weak medicine, or worse, no medicine at all. I select my first tree, a medium-sized willow growing at the water's edge, its roots half visible where the stream has eroded the bank. The tree is healthy, its bark smooth and intact. I remove the knife from my belt and approach the tree carefully. The ground near the water's edge is treacherous, slick with mud and wet leaves. I plant my feet firmly before beginning to work. I choose a branch perhaps as thick as my thumb, growing low enough that I can reach it comfortably. Agnes taught me to harvest from the sides and bottom of trees, never from the top. Taking from the top creates visible damage that makes the tree more noticeable to others who might over-harvest it. I make the first cut carefully, slicing through the outer bark in a ring around the branch. The knife is sharp, and the bark yields easily. I make a second ring about a hand's width from the first, then a vertical cut connecting the two rings. Now comes the delicate part, peeling away the bark without damaging the living wood beneath. I work the edge of my knife under the bark at one corner and gently lift. The bark begins to separate, and I peel it away slowly, revealing the pale inner surface and the white wood beneath. The strip of bark comes away cleanly, a good sign. I lay it in my basket, inner side up, and move to another branch. The work is repetitive but requires constant attention. Each cut must be precise. Each peel must be gentle. Rush the work and you damage the tree or harvest poor quality bark. Take too long and the cold numbs your fingers until you cannot hold the knife properly. I move from tree to tree, taking 1 or 2 strips from each, never more. The basket slowly fills with curls of willow bark, pale and slightly damp, carrying the scent of sap and river water. My fingers grow cold despite my efforts to keep moving. The knife handle is wooden but still draws heat from my hands. I pause occasionally to warm my fingers under my arms, waiting until I can feel them properly again before continuing. A bird calls from somewhere in the trees, a robin, I think, though I am not skilled at identifying bird calls. The sound is bright and unexpected in the winter silence, and it makes me smile despite the cold and the tedious work. I am perhaps halfway through filling the basket when I hear voices. I stop cutting and listen carefully. Men's voices, coming from deeper in the forest. 2 men, possibly 3, speaking in low tones. I cannot make out the words, but I can hear the rumble of male voices and the occasional rough laugh. Agnes's warning returns to me. Stay where others might see you. Do not go deep into the forest. I am not deep in the forest. I am at its edge, within sight of the open pasture land if someone were to look this direction. But I am alone, and the voices are closer than I would like. I gather my basket and move away from the stream, back toward the path, putting more distance between myself and the voices. I try to move quietly, not wanting to draw attention, but my shoes on the wet leaves make unavoidable sounds. The voices pause. Then one calls out, "Who's there?" My heart beats faster. I should answer. Remaining silent might make them suspicious or curious. But I do not want to identify myself as a young woman alone. Just gathering bark, I call back, keeping my voice loud but not frightened. By the stream. A pause. Then a different voice. Bark? For what? Medicine. For Agnes the herbalist. Another pause. Then the first voice again, more relaxed. Ah, the herb woman's girl. You're Edith, then? Yes. I still do not move toward them, and they do not move toward me. Carry on, then. We're just checking traps for rabbits. Cold day for gathering, isn't it? Cold enough. I agree. I hear them moving away, their voices fading as they go deeper into the forest. They were likely who they said, men checking traps, a common enough activity. But Agnes has taught me to be cautious, and caution means not assuming the best of strangers in isolated places. I wait until I can no longer hear their voices, then return to the stream and resume my work. But I am more alert now, listening constantly for any sounds beyond the stream's burbling and the wind in the bare branches. I gather bark from 3 more trees, working quickly now, wanting to finish and return to the village where there are people and safety. The basket is nearly half full, enough, as Agnes requested. I take one final strip of bark from a young willow at the water's edge, then straighten up and stretch my back. My fingers are stiff with cold, and I can barely feel my toes inside my shoes. It is time to return. I pick up my basket, secure my knife in my belt, and begin the walk back to the village, carrying medicine gathered from the land that provides for those who know its secrets. The walk back is quicker than the walk out. I know where I am going, and the desire for warmth quickens my pace. The basket of willow bark swings from my arm, lighter than it will be when the bark dries and curls further, but still a satisfying weight. The feeling of returning with a task completed is one I have come to value. Agnes notices when work is done well and on time. As I cross the common pasture, I see more activity in the village than when I left. The midday meal period has ended, and people have returned to their work. I see the blacksmith's apprentice carrying tools toward the forge, smoke already rising from its chimney. I hear the rhythmic sound of someone splitting wood. Life resumes its patterns after the brief midday pause. I pass the shepherd Thomas again, this time driving a small group of sheep toward a different section of pasture. He nods to me as I pass. Cold work, gathering in February, he observes. Cold but necessary, I reply. Medicine doesn't wait for warm weather. He grunts agreement and continues with his sheep. Thomas is a man of few words, but those words are generally sensible. As I approach our cottage, I see someone waiting outside the door, a man, stocky and weather-worn, leaning against the wall with the patience of someone accustomed to waiting. I recognize him. Goodman Peter, the man Agnes mentioned would come this afternoon for his valerian tincture. He straightens when he sees me approaching. Edith. Is Mistress Agnes within? She should be, Goodman Peter. I've been gathering bark. I reach the door and push it open. Mistress. Goodman Peter is here. Agnes appears from the dim interior, wiping her hands on a cloth. Peter, good. Come in, come in. Your back still pains you. Like the devil himself sits on my spine, Peter says, following her inside. I enter after them and close the door against the cold. The cottage feels wonderfully warm after my time outside. The fire has been built up, and the air is thick with warmth and the various smells of herbs and medicines. I set my basket of willow bark on the floor near the work table and remove my cloak, hanging it on its peg. Agnes gestures for Peter to sit on the bench near the fire. The pain, is it constant or does it come and go? Constant, mostly, Peter says, lowering himself carefully onto the bench. Worse when I bend or lift, which is most of what farming requires. And at night it keeps me from sleep, which makes everything harder. Yes, lack of sleep makes pain worse, and pain makes sleep impossible. A cruel circle. Agnes moves to the shelf where we keep finished medicines and takes down one of the small dark bottles of valerian tincture we prepared this morning. This is valerian root in ale. 10 drops in a cup of ale or water before bed. It will ease the muscle tension and help you sleep. She hands him the bottle and he examines it, turning it in his large, work-worn hands. "Will it cure the pain?" he asks, though his tone suggests he already knows the answer. "No," Agnes says honestly. "Your back pain comes from years of heavy labor. The damage to your back is done and cannot be undone. But we can manage the pain, help you sleep, allow you to continue working. This is not a small thing, Peter. Many men with back pain like yours cannot work at all. If this tincture helps you sleep and reduces the pain enough that you can continue farming, that is a kind of healing." Peter nods slowly. Better to work with some pain than to not work at all. "What do I owe you?" 2 pennies for the bottle. It should last a month if you use it as I've instructed. When it runs out, return the bottle and I'll refill it for 1 penny. Peter produces 2 pennies from a pouch at his belt and places them on the work table. "My wife says to thank you for the salve you gave her last month. Her hands are much better, the cracking and bleeding have stopped." "I'm pleased to hear it. Tell her to continue applying it twice daily, even after the skin looks healed. Winter is hard on washerwoman's hands." Peter stands, tucking the bottle carefully into his pouch. "God bless this house," he says, and Agnes replies, "And yours." After he leaves, Agnes picks up the 2 pennies and adds them to the money box. 7 pennies today, she says with satisfaction. "A good day's earning." She turns to me. "Show me what you gathered." I bring the basket to the work table and Agnes examines the willow bark strips I collected. She picks up several pieces, examining the inner surface, checking the thickness, bringing them close to her nose to smell them. "Good," she says after a moment. "You cut cleanly and peeled carefully. No damage to the inner bark, no pieces of outer bark contaminating the harvest. This will dry well and make strong medicine." The praise warms me more than the fire does. Agnes is sparing with compliments, so each one carries weight. "Spread these on the drying rack," she instructs. "Not overlapping, each piece needs air circulation. In 3 days they will be dry enough to store, and in a week they will be fully cured and ready for use." I take the basket to the corner where the drying rack stands, a wooden frame with thin slats, elevated on legs to allow air to circulate beneath. Several other items are already drying there. Some late winter mushrooms, a few roots I don't immediately recognize, and bundles of something that might be moss. I carefully arrange the willow bark strips on an empty section of the rack, spacing them as Agnes instructed. The strips are still slightly damp and pliable. They will curl further as they dry, becoming the brittle curls we store in baskets for later use. As I work, Agnes moves to the fire and checks the pot that has been simmering all afternoon. She lifts the lid and peers inside, then stirs with a long wooden spoon. "The salve for the baker's wife," she says. "It has been setting for 2 days. Come and see." I finish arranging the last piece of willow bark and join her at the fire. Inside the pot is a thick, yellowish substance, beeswax mixed with rendered sheep fat and infused with herbs. Agnes has been making this salve for the baker's wife, who burned her hand badly on a hot oven door 3 days ago. Agnes takes the pot from the fire using a thick cloth to protect her hands from the heat. She carries it to the work table and sets it down carefully. "Burns are dangerous," she says, beginning to lecture as she works. "They can become corrupted easily, leading to fever, to mortification of the flesh, even to death if the burn is large enough. The key to treating burns is to keep them clean, keep them moist, and prevent corruption from taking hold." She dips a wooden paddle into the salve and lifts some out. The consistency is perfect. Thick enough to stay in place when applied, but soft enough to spread easily. This salve contains beeswax for structure, sheep fat for moisture, and 3 herbs: St. John's wort for healing, comfrey for tissue repair, and calendula for preventing corruption. Together they create a complete treatment for burns. She begins spooning the salve into a smaller clay pot, a container sized appropriately for one person's use. As she works, she continues teaching. When you apply salve to a burn, you must first ensure the burn is clean. Wash it gently with clean water, not cold water, which causes pain, but tepid water. Pat it dry with clean cloth, do not rub. Then apply the salve in a thin layer, thick enough to cover completely, but not so thick that it cannot absorb into the skin. Cover with clean cloth to protect the burn from dirt and damage. She fills the small pot and sets it aside, then places a circle of cloth over the opening and ties it with twine. The baker's wife will need to apply this twice daily until the burn is fully healed. If the burn shows signs of corruption, red streaks spreading from the wound, pus, fever, she must come to me immediately. Agnes looks at the position of the light coming through the window. It grows late. The church will ring none soon. After that, we have one more task before the day's work is done. She does not say what the task is, and I know better than to ask. I will learn when Agnes is ready to tell me. The afternoon deepens toward evening. The work continues. Agnes seals the pot of burned salve with a wooden stopper and sets it on the shelf with the other prepared remedies. Then she turns to survey the cottage, the work table, the hanging herbs, the drying rack, the floor that has accumulated a fine layer of dried plant material and dust throughout the day's activities. Before we begin the evening's final task, she says, we must restore order. A clean workspace is essential, Edith. Disorder leads to confusion, and confusion leads to error. Errors in our work can kill. This is a lesson she has repeated many times, and I have learned its truth. When everything has its place, when tools are cleaned and stored properly, when dried herbs do not litter the floor, then the work flows smoothly and mistakes are less likely. Sweep the floor first, Agnes instructs. Then wipe down the work table. Check that all pots and tools are clean and properly stored. While you do this, I will review the cottage's inventory and determine what supplies we need to obtain before week's end. I take the broom from its place by the door, a simple bundle of birch twigs bound to a wooden handle. The floor needs sweeping badly. Bits of dried herbs, fragments of bark, spilled ash from the fire, and the general accumulation of a day's work have created a layer of debris. I begin sweeping from the farthest corner, working methodically toward the door where I can sweep the debris outside. The rhythmic motion is soothing, swish, 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 and my mind drifts as my body performs the familiar task. I think about the morning's patients, little Margaret with her lung fever, fighting for her life while her mother clutches medicine and hope in equal measure. Will she survive? I find myself offering a silent prayer, not aloud, not formally, just a quiet thought sent to God or the saints or whoever might be listening. Let the baby live. I think about Father Benedict's question regarding suffering and mercy. The theological complexities are beyond me, but I understand the human reality. Pain serves no purpose when death is certain. If we can ease that pain, surely we should. God cannot be so cruel as to require pointless agony. I think about the men in the forest, their voices in the cold air, the brief moment of fear before they identified themselves. Agnes's warnings about being a young woman alone feel more real after that encounter, even though nothing bad happened. The sweeping takes perhaps 10 minutes. When I finish, I take the accumulated debris outside and scatter it behind the cottage where it will eventually decompose and return to the earth. Nothing is wasted, even floor sweepings serve a purpose, adding organic matter to the soil. Back inside, I use a damp cloth to wipe the work table. The surface is stained with years of use, darker where potions have spilled, lighter where repeated scrubbing has worn away the wood's color. But it is our surface, our workspace, and keeping it clean is a form of respect for the work we do. Agnes, meanwhile, has been moving through the cottage with a wax tablet and stylus, making marks. She cannot write in the way priests and scholars write, but she has her own system of symbols. Marks that represent herbs, tallies that indicate quantities, scratches that mean running low or need to purchase. When I finish cleaning the table, I wash the cloth in the basin and hang it to dry, then turn to see what task comes next. Agnes sets down her tablet and looks at me. We are low on several things. Beeswax, we have enough for 2 more months if we use it carefully, but we should purchase more at the next market day. Honey, we have very little, and we use it constantly. Olive oil for making infused oils, almost gone. Should I add these to the market list? I ask. We keep a mental list of items to purchase when we have coin and when the traveling merchants come through the village. Yes. Also, we need to think about seed for the spring garden. I want to expand the comfrey, as I mentioned, which means obtaining root cuttings from someone with an established patch. The abbey at Bury St. Edmunds maintains extensive herb gardens. We may need to send word to them requesting cuttings. The church bell begins to ring. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 chimes. None. The 9th hour, mid-afternoon. The day is moving toward evening, though several hours of light remain. Agnes walks to the window and looks out. The light has begun to change, still grey, but with the particular quality that comes as afternoon slides toward evening. Soon it will be time for the evening task I mentioned, she says. But first, I must teach you something you have not yet learned. Something I have judged you ready for. My attention sharpens. Agnes does not make such statements lightly. If she judges me ready for new knowledge, it means she has been observing, assessing, waiting for the right moment. Come to the locked cabinet, she says, moving to the small wooden cabinet in the corner. The one I am not permitted to open alone, the one that contains what Agnes calls the dangerous medicines. She produces a key from the leather pouch she wears at her belt and unlocks the cabinet. The door swings open to reveal several shelves holding small pots, vials, and pouches. I have glimpsed these items before but have never been taught about them in detail. These are the remedies that can kill as easily as cure, Agnes says. Poisons in large amounts, medicines in small amounts. You are 16 now, Edith. You have been with me for 3 years. You have learned the safe herbs, the gentle remedies, the medicines that help without risk of harm. Now you must begin learning the dangerous knowledge. She reaches into the cabinet and removes a small leather pouch. tied shut with cord. This is foxglove, the dried leaves of the plant with purple flowers that grows in the woodland clearings. Do you know it? I nod. I have seen it. You told me never to harvest it, that it was too dangerous for me to handle. Yes, but now you must learn about it, because ignorance is also dangerous. Agnes sets the pouch on the work table and carefully opens it. Inside are dried leaves, brown and crumbled, innocent-looking. Foxglove affects the heart, she says. In very small amounts so small they are difficult to measure, it can strengthen a weak, failing heart. It can restore regular heartbeat to a heart that beats chaotically. I have seen it save lives. She pauses, her expression grave. But the difference between a healing dose and a killing dose is very small. Too much foxglove makes the heart beat too strongly, too fast, or causes it to stop entirely. A person poisoned by foxglove sees colored lights, becomes confused, vomits repeatedly, and then dies. It is not a gentle death. I feel a chill that has nothing to do with the cold cottage. Why teach me this? I ask. If it is so dangerous, why not simply never use it? Because some patients have failing hearts, and without foxglove they will die. With foxglove, measured carefully, administered precisely, they may live months or years longer. To refuse to use foxglove because it is dangerous is to refuse to help those who need it most. But to use it carelessly is to murder. Agnes reties the pouch and holds it in both hands, looking at me directly. This is the burden of deep knowledge, Edith. The most powerful medicines are also the most dangerous. As you learn more, you will gain the power to help people that other healers cannot help. But you will also gain the power to harm, to kill, even if you do not intend it. This is why I have waited 3 years to begin teaching you these things. I needed to know that you are careful, that you think before acting, that you understand the weight of this responsibility. She places the pouch back in the cabinet but does not lock it yet. We will not work with foxglove today. Today you will simply learn to identify it in all its forms, fresh, dried, in flower, in leaf. You will learn what it treats and what it can do if misused. Later, much later, when I am certain of your skill, you may learn to prepare it. But that day is years away still. She closes the cabinet and locks it, returning the key to her pouch. Now, she says, the evening task awaits. We must visit the widow Joan. She does not explain why, but her expression tells me this is not a routine visit. Something is wrong at the widow Joan's house. Agnes moves to the shelf where we keep medicines prepared for specific purposes and selects several items. A small clay pot sealed with wax, a bundle of dried herbs I don't immediately recognize, and a bottle of what appears to be the valerian tincture. She places these items in a leather bag that hangs by the door, our traveling bag for house visits. Bring the clean linen cloths, she says. The ones we keep for wound dressing. And fill a small flask with clean water from the bucket. The specific items she is gathering tell me something about what we will find at the widow Joan's house. Wound dressing cloths suggest injury or sores. Valerian suggests pain or the need for sleep. The sealed pot. I try to remember what we have prepared recently in such pots. Then I recall, the drawing salve we made 4 days ago, meant to pull corruption from wounds. I gather the items Agnes requested and add them to the bag. Agnes wraps herself in her cloak, heavier than mine, wool with a hood, dark brown, and patched in several places but warm. She is old and feels the cold more than I do, though she would never admit it. The widow Joan lives alone, Agnes says as we prepare to leave. Her husband died 2 years ago. Her children are grown and gone to other villages. She is perhaps 50 years old, which means she is weakening. Last week she came to me with a wound on her leg, a small cut that would not heal. Would not heal? I ask. From what cause? The cause is age and poor blood. Some people, as they grow old, lose the ability to heal quickly. A wound that would close in days for a young person may linger for weeks in an old person. And wounds that linger often become corrupted. She lifts the bag and slings it over her shoulder. I gave her a salve and told her to keep the wound clean and covered. I told her to return in 3 days if it had not improved. She did not return. This means either the wound has healed, unlikely, or she has grown too ill to make the journey to us. We go to discover which. We leave the cottage, and Agnes pulls the door shut behind us. The afternoon air is colder than it was at midday. The sun, hidden behind clouds, is beginning its descent toward evening, and the temperature drops accordingly. The widow Joan's cottage is on the far side of the village, near the church. We walk in silence for a time. Agnes sets a steady pace despite her age, not fast, but constant, the pace of someone conserving energy for what may be demanding work ahead. As we walk through the village, people nod to us. Agnes the herbalist is known to everyone, respected by most, feared by some. I am simply Agnes's girl, the apprentice, noticed but not yet fully recognized in my own right. We pass the church, its stone tower rising above the village cottages. The churchyard is quiet. No burials today, no priest visible. The church door stands open as it always does during daylight hours, welcoming any who wish to pray. Beyond the church, the cottages become slightly more scattered. The widow Joan's cottage sits apart from its neighbors, surrounded by a small plot of land that has gone to weed since her husband's death. A woman alone cannot maintain land the way a man can, and the widow has no sons to help her. Smoke rises from the cottage chimney, a good sign. It means she is alive, able to maintain her fire. But the smoke is thin, suggesting a fire that is burning low, perhaps not tended recently. Agnes knocks on the door, 3 firm raps. Joan. It is Agnes. I have come to check your leg. Silence. Then a voice from inside, weak and strained. The door is unbarred. Come in. Agnes lifts the latch and pushes the door open. The cottage interior is dim, only the weak firelight illuminates the single room. The smell hits me immediately, the sour, rotten smell of corrupted flesh. I have smelled this before, and it always means serious trouble. The widow Joan lies on her pallet in the corner of the room. She is a small woman, thin, her face grey with pain and illness. Her right leg is extended before her, and even from the doorway I can see that it is swollen, the skin discolored. Agnes moves quickly to Joan's side, kneeling beside the pallet with practiced ease despite her age. I follow, setting down the bag and trying not to show my reaction to the smell. How long have you been lying here? Agnes asks, her voice gentle but firm. 3 days. Joan whispers. Maybe 4. I lost count. The fever came 2 days ago. I cannot walk, the leg will not bear weight. Why did you not send for me? I have no one to send. My neighbor, old Thomas, I tried to call to him, but he did not hear. Or he heard and did not come. The widow's voice is bitter. A woman alone is easily forgotten. Agnes does not respond to this, but I see her jaw tighten slightly. She begins unwrapping the cloth bandage around Joan's leg. The bandage is stiff with dried discharge, stuck to the wound in places. Agnes works carefully, dampening the cloth with water from the flask I brought, softening it so it can be removed without tearing open the wound further. When the bandage is finally removed, I see the wound clearly and have to force myself not to recoil. What was described as a small cut has become something far worse. The cut itself is perhaps 2 inches long on Joan's lower leg, but around it the flesh is swollen, red shading to purple, hot to the touch. The center of the wound weeps yellow-green pus. Red lines radiate from the wound up the leg. The sign Agnes has taught me means corruption is spreading through the blood. This is very serious. This could kill. Agnes examines the wound silently for a long moment. Then she looks at me. What do you see, Edith? This is a test, even now. Agnes uses every situation as teaching. I see a wound that has become severely corrupted. The swelling and discoloration indicate infection in the tissue. The red lines indicate the corruption is spreading through the blood vessels. The pus indicates active infection. The fever she mentioned indicates the corruption has entered her entire body. Good. And the prognosis? I hesitate. The prognosis is grim, but I am uncertain whether to say this in front of Joan. Speak freely, Agnes says. Joan needs truth, not comfort. The prognosis is poor, I say quietly. If the corruption continues to spread, it will reach her heart and she will die. The leg itself may need to be removed to save her life. Joan makes a small sound, not quite a sob, but close. Agnes nods. Accurate. But we have not reached that point yet. We will try aggressive treatment first. If it fails, then we discuss amputation. But not yet. She turns to Joan. This will be painful. I must clean the wound thoroughly, remove the dead flesh, apply a drawing salve to pull out the corruption. You will need to bite on something. I remove a leather strap from the bag. We keep it for exactly this purpose, for patients who need something to bite during painful procedures. Joan takes it and places it between her teeth. Edith, Agnes says, build up her fire. We need hot water, as much as you can boil. And light needs to be better, open the shutters fully. I move quickly to obey. The fire is indeed burning low. I add wood from Joan's meager woodpile and blow on the coals to encourage the flames. Then I open the window shutters, letting in the grey afternoon light. It is not bright, but it is better than the dimness we had. Agnes has removed items from the bag, the drawing salve, clean cloths, a small sharp knife, and a flask of strong ale. The ale is for her, not the wound, Agnes says. Give her several swallows now. It will not eliminate the pain, but it may dull it slightly. I help Joan drink. She swallows with difficulty, some of the ale running down her chin, but she manages to take several mouthfuls. Agnes looks at me, her expression serious. You have watched me clean corrupted wounds before, but you have never assisted directly. Today you will assist. Watch carefully, do exactly as I instruct, and do not faint. I will not faint, I say, though I am not entirely certain this is true. Agnes turns to the wound. Then we begin. The difficult work starts. Agnes pours ale over her hands, then over the small sharp knife, a ritual I have seen before. Ale cleanses, she has taught me. Not perfectly, but better than nothing. It washes away some of the invisible seeds of corruption that live on our hands and tools. She positions herself beside Joan's leg, the afternoon light falling directly on the wound. Hold her leg steady, she instructs me. She will jerk from pain, but the leg must not move or I may cut too deep. I place my hands on Joan's calf, above and below the wound, gripping firmly but not cruelly. Through the skin I can feel the heat of the infection, as if the leg itself is burning from within. Agnes begins with the knife, carefully cutting away the dead flesh at the edges of the wound, blackened tissue that has no chance of healing. Joan's body goes rigid and she bites down hard on the leather strap. A muffled sound escapes her throat, but she does not scream. "Good, Joan," Agnes says quietly. "You are strong. Stay strong a bit longer." The dead flesh comes away in small pieces, dark and foul-smelling. Agnes drops each piece into a bowl I have positioned nearby. This tissue will be burned later. It cannot go into compost or be left where animals might find it. With the dead tissue removed, Agnes pours ale directly into the wound. Joan's leg jerks violently, and I struggle to keep it still. The ale fizzes slightly as it meets the corrupted flesh, a strange reaction I have seen before but do not understand. "The ale is biting the corruption," Agnes says, as if reading my thoughts. "Cleaning what my knife cannot reach." She uses clean cloths to wipe away the ale, the pus, the blood, the discharge. Each cloth becomes soaked with foulness and is set aside to be burned with the dead tissue. We go through 5 cloths, 6, 7, until finally the wound is as clean as we can make it. Now comes the drawing salve, the thick paste we brought in the sealed pot. Agnes opens it and the smell is pungent, herbs and fat and something else I cannot identify. "This salve contains things that draw corruption outward," Agnes explains as she works, still teaching even in this difficult moment. "Garlic to fight infection. Honey to prevent new infection from taking hold. Drawing herbs, plantain, comfrey, marshmallow root, to pull the poison from deep tissue up to the surface where it can drain away." She applies the salve thickly to the clean wound, packing it in so that every part of the damaged tissue is covered. Joan's breathing is rapid and shallow, her face slick with sweat despite the cold cottage. The pain must be enormous, but she has not screamed, has not fought us. She is stronger than she looks. Agnes covers the salve with clean linen cloths, wrapping the leg carefully. "This must be changed twice daily," she says to Joan. "Morning and evening. Each time, clean the wound with ale, reapply the salve, use fresh cloths. Do you understand?" Joan removes the leather strap from her mouth. "I understand," she whispers. "But I cannot. I cannot do this myself. I can barely move." Agnes sits back on her heels, considering. This is the problem with living alone. When illness strikes, there is no one to provide basic care. "I will come tomorrow morning and tomorrow evening," Agnes says finally. "Edith will come the morning after that. We will continue this for 3 days. By then, either the infection will be receding or—" She does not finish the sentence, but Joan understands. "Or the leg comes off," Joan finishes. "Or I die." "Yes. What do I owe you for this?" Joan asks, and I hear the fear in her voice. She is poor, living alone with no income except what her absent children occasionally send. 3 days of twice daily visits will cost more than she likely has. Agnes is quiet for a moment. Then she says, "You owe me nothing now. If you live, if the leg is saved, you may pay me what you can when you can. If you die..." She shrugs. "I will not collect payment from the dead." Tears run down Joan's weathered face. "You are kind, Agnes. People call you cold, but you are not cold." "I am practical," Agnes corrects. "Taking payment you cannot give serves no one. Now, you must keep this fire burning and you must drink water, as much as you can bear. Fever dries the body, and a dried body cannot fight corruption. Can you reach the water bucket from where you lie?" Joan looks toward the bucket near the door and shakes her head. "I stand. I will move it closer. And I will bring more water from the well before we leave." Agnes nods approval. "Do so. And bring more firewood in from her woodpile. Stack it within her reach." While Agnes remains with Joan, speaking to her in low tones about what signs to watch for, I move through the cottage completing these tasks. I bring the water bucket to Joan's bedside. I make 3 trips to her woodpile, carrying armfuls of wood and stacking it near the fire where she can reach it without standing. As I work, I glance at the 2 of them, the old herbalist and the old widow, both women who have survived in a world that does not value old women, both strong in ways that are easy to overlook. This is what Agnes does, I realize. Not just mix medicines, but provide care in all its forms. She could have simply given Joan the salve and instructions and left. Instead, she cleaned the wound herself, made arrangements to return, waived payment. This is the work beneath the work, the part that does not show in the coins collected or the remedies dispensed. I finish my tasks and return to Agnes's side. "It is done, mistress." Agnes stands slowly, her knees creaking. She is 60 years old, and kneeling on hard floors is not easy anymore, though she would never complain. "Joan, we leave you now. Keep the fire burning, drink water, do not try to walk on that leg. If the fever worsens greatly, if you begin to feel confused or see things that are not there, try to get someone's attention. Bang on the wall, call out, anything. Do you understand?" "I understand. We will return tomorrow morning, shortly after prime. Sleep if you can. The valerian tincture I gave you earlier will help." We gather our things, the bag, now lighter, the bowl of dead tissue and soiled cloths. Agnes pauses at the door and looks back. "You are not alone, Joan. Remember that." Then we step out into the cold afternoon. The light is fading now, evening approaches. The church bell will ring vespers soon, marking the transition from day to night. We walk in silence for a time, carrying our grim cargo back toward our cottage. Finally, I speak. "Will she live?" Agnes is quiet for several steps. Then, "I do not know. The corruption is advanced. But I have seen worse survive, and I have seen better cases die. We have done what can be done. Now we wait and see what God and her body decide." We reach our cottage as the church bell begins to ring vespers. 6 chimes, marking the evening hour. The day is ending, but our work is not quite finished. Inside, Agnes moves immediately to the fire. Burn the dead tissue and the soiled cloths. All of it. Corruption should not be left where it might spread. I feed everything into the flames, tissue, cloths, even the bowl we used. The fire flares and smokes with a foul smell, but gradually consumes everything, turning corruption into ash and heat and smoke that rises through the smoke hole in the roof. Agnes sits heavily on the bench near the fire. For the first time today, she looks tired. "It has been a long day," she says quietly. "Yes, mistress." She looks at me, and her expression softens slightly. "You did well today, Edith. With the gathering, with the patients, with Joan. You are learning not just the medicines but the whole work. This is good." The praise warms me more than the fire. Outside, darkness is falling. Inside, the fire burns steadily, casting its warm light on the herbs hanging overhead, the pots on the shelves, the work table where tomorrow's medicines will be prepared. Agnes stands and moves to close the shutters against the night. "Tomorrow we begin again," she says. "We will check on little Margaret, tend to Joan's wound, prepare remedies for others who will come. The work never ends, Edith. But this is what we are called to do." "Yes, mistress," I say. "This is what we are called to do." She banks the fire for the night, covering the flames with ash to preserve the coals until morning. I prepare my pallet in the corner, laying out the straw, the wool blanket. The day is ending. But tomorrow will come, and with it, more patients, more plants, more teaching, more work. This is the life of a herbalist's apprentice in England, 1347. A life of service, of learning, of steady dedication to the art of healing. And I would choose no other. Within a year of this day, the great pestilence, what later generations would call the Black Death, will arrive in England, killing perhaps half the population. Agnes will die in the first wave, along with countless other healers who stayed with the sick when others fled. Edith will survive and will become the village herbalist in Agnes's place, carrying forward the knowledge passed down through generations of women. She will tend the sick through the worst years of plague, save some, lose more, and eventually train her own apprentice. The work continues, generation after generation, through pestilence and war and famine. The work always continues.